ghost. Now, annoyingly, I can barely read the chat with this on, so I just want to try something. Don't know if it's going to work. Now, let's see if the glasses work underneath the mask. There we go, that's better. Yeah, this is just a replica one, but it's a replica of a World War One PH gas hood, and how they worked is they soaked the mask in neutralising chemicals, rather than it having a dedicated filter unit. Just wash it in soapy water. Army loaf, but this is a spooky stream. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, or else the Scarecrow PH man will get you. It's a replica I got from eBay years ago. It's not a high quality replica, but it was only like £20 or something. Yeah, you can talk about sleep paralysis. As long as it's spooky, feel free to talk about it. I wouldn't mind chatting a bit about nightmares on this stream, because some of you know that I have nightmares quite frequently. And apparently it's side effects of a load of the medications I'm on. Like, several of the medications all conflict. And, you know, like, some of them alone can cause nightmares and dreams, and then because I'm on several that can do it, I end up having a nightmare nearly every night at this point, but I can't always remember them. That's the only annoying thing, you know, because it'd be good if I could remember all of them, but a lot of them just aren't, you know, very memorable in the morning. That's the exhale valve. It's a flapper valve. So, the thing is, a lot of the time when I get a nightmare, it'll be based on something I've seen recently or whatever. Like, seen or read about. So, let's say I was to watch a horror film or something today. Quite often, the nightmare I'll have over the next couple of days, because I generally have one every night, would always tend to be something that I've recently watched or seen. Do you mean like an out-of-body experience, Jacob? Because quite a lot of people have those, apparently. I have no idea, no man ink, but this is a spooky stream. Yeah, that's really weird. If you have a dream where you feel like something's happening in the dream, and then when you wake up you've got like pain in a certain area or whatever. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, quite often I'll have nightmares. Like, the boring nightmares are just the ones that are about social situations. You know, where you have a nightmare about something happening in your everyday life. you know, like something bad might happen at work or with some of your friends. They're the boring ones because, you know, you worry that they might have really happened. But, you know, the more interesting ones are the actual nightmares. Like a poltergeist kind of thing, Victor. Or in your nightmare that happened. Sort of comfortable. The only problem with this is, like the actual fabric, because it's obviously just like a flannel material, that's comfortable enough. The issue with it is that the eyepieces don't normally stay in place. No, I wouldn't mess about around with something like that. I don't know how much I believe in like Ouija board kind of stuff, but I wouldn't mess around with stuff like that. Have you been playing a lot of battle royale games or films recently then, Peach? That's strange then. Dreaming about drowning even if you're not near water. I wonder if I can talk like this. No, not really. Yeah, it's strange then, Peach, isn't it? Only the first episode's out so far, isn't it? But the episode 1 was very good. And I bet nothing happened as a result, Mike. What do you mean by the link then, Vladimir? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Alexander, but I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll have nightmares or something like that. And, you know, when I wake up, obviously I can't remember it, but I know it was quite scary at the time. Yep, talk about urban legends if you want to. Do you have a good one to bring up? There's lots of good I ought to watch some more, not documentaries on urban legends, but you know, like YouTube channels that talk about urban legends, because there's some quite good ones about just, you know, like ones that are very based around a certain thing. You know, like localized ones where there might be a bridge or, you know, like a tunnel somewhere and they say people go missing in the tunnel, there's weird sightings in the tunnel. They're quite interesting. Yeah, you keep making that comment, SCP facility. World War One ghost haunted me. Oh my god. Not clickbait. Like crushed to death by a machine, Mike, or what? Or like a roof falling on you? Or can't you remember? Yeah, apparently Gettysburg's very haunted though, isn't it? For the people who believe in all that stuff. I don't quite understand that, Vladimir, but as long as you've got on, that's good. And for those that haven't seen, it's a spooky stream, so we're not going to really be chatting all that much about gas masks or anything like that. The entire point of this stream is to be talking about creepy stuff. Yeah, there's lots of creepy ghost ships like that, where they're still seen floating every now and then. Like, imagine that, you're out at sea at night and then this big ship just floats past silently. Yeah, I already said about Chernobyl, but we're not chatting about that today. Personally, I don't... The thing is, we've talked about Area 51 before on these. Refresher page rocks. Personally, I don't know what you mean by that, rocks. Personally, I think Area 51, like the alien stuff, was done to cover up other, like, research they might have been doing on the base. Let's say fighters or stuff like that. You know, like stealth bombers, stealth fighters, things like that. So the alien thing was a cover, so people would think they were secretly trying to hide alien stuff there, not the stuff they were actually doing. You already asked me that, Aura, and I said no. Right, I'll have to search that because I don't know what phobia that is without looking it up. I guess sub means under something. Oh, sunken ships, is it? Or things underwater? I need to set it to live chat as well, don't I? Otherwise I'll start missing a load of messages. That's strange, it reminded you, but it doesn't have a link. No idea if you mean a legit one or a reproduction or what like that, but as said, this is the spooky stream. Yeah, there's lots of things like that of hauntings, aren't there, Shackleton, where people say they hear noises or smells from somewhere but don't actually see, you know, anything. Yeah, but did you hear last time we did a stream, Stalin, that there's actually a thing called shadow people? Yeah, phobia of drowning gets... I wouldn't say it's a phobia because it's a realistic fear, isn't it, drowning? But when I was a kid, I always used to be scared in swimming pools that I get sucked into the, like, swimming pool drain. But apparently if you look that up, that does occasionally happen to people. I think it's more of a problem, though, that if you have a very small swimming pool drain and your foot gets stuck on it or something, it can block the thing and then you get killed by differential pressure. That's interesting, as far as power. I mean, obviously it's not a good thing that you got cancer from that, but it's quite interesting stuff, isn't it? I've been to Warwick Castle quite a few times. Yep, you've made it to the stream, Jessica. So does anybody have any good urban legends or creepy stories like that to tell everybody? Sort of like local legends about killers or like disappearances or like weird things going on in abandoned places, stuff like that. It's soaked in neutralising chemicals. That's what the letters stand for. Fexanon henite or something like that. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of that, but if you look it up, that's what the pH is. Yeah, it's a creepy pasta, Comrade Stalin, but it's the one that gets brought up the most, so it's the one I get the most sick of. Yes, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. As in, like, war kind of murders, or organised crime murders, or, like, serial killer kind of murders, Frost? Purpleaki, yeah. I've seen the Mad Lads video on that. Don't let him feel your muscles. Yeah, it's very weird, isn't it, Jacob, when you get the feeling of being watched and you can't spot anybody around, but you can still feel like you're being watched. Yeah, do stuff like that, Mike, because they can be creepy to some people, can't they? Especially if you think about there might have been a paedophile on the loose when you were a kid. That is quite a creepy thing. So, were there any legends or curses or anything with that, Charles? And what's the procedure if they find that? Do they all have to be, like, recorded and then buried somewhere else? Do you think with stuff like that, SRS Power, some people are more sensitive to things like that? As in, like, they can feel some kind of energy or whatever? Because if you're even looking at hauntings and things like that from a more sciencey kind of perspective than just saying, oh, it's haunted, it's a ghost, could there be some sort of residual energy that we can't monitor in some ways, but some people might be more attuned into, so therefore they, can get upset from being put in rooms like that? Right, let me look up that name then, ARP Warden. Is this Molly Lee, the Witch of Burslem? So, she was one of those people that was accused of being a witch. Yeah, I think there could be a lot of logic to stuff like that, of, sound waves or some sort of frequencies that some people can detect and other people can't, that might interfere with how they perceive things. That's creepy, Frost. I'll have to look that up because I've not heard of that. It sounds like some sort of viral marketing thing without looking into it too closely. Oh, so it's nothing scary then. There's something outside your window, but it's a cat. Scary Soviet experiments. Well, it was the one they really did, where they had amputated dog heads and they brought them back to life for a brief period by pumping like blood and air through them. Is that an urban legend, Foxy, or is it real? Because if it's real, I'd love to find out who that was. Oh, what, like if you get weird feelings, Vladimir, it's somebody walking over a grave? Yeah, I've heard of stuff like that, Stalin, but some of that's... I mean, some of that stuff's creepy, but some of that stuff's generally pretty tragic, isn't it? If it's, like, child sexual abuse and, like, stuff like that. It's stuff that, you know, isn't really on the, I mean, serial killers are obviously on the tragic side of stuff as well. Not the killers themselves, but their victims, but yeah. That's very interesting, Celtic Productions. There's, I think Bart said when he lived in France for a while, you used to be able to hear, like, this weird breathing sound sometimes at night in the house, and, like, you know, you would sometimes see shadows walking down the corridor if you were in a room, you know, but the floorboards didn't creak, so you just physically saw the light like somebody was walking down the corridor. And apparently the previous person that owned that house had hung themselves, so that's, like, one of those creepy things. Not the same kind of mask that Hannibal wears, though, is it? Speaking of fans, isn't it South Korea where there's some weird, like, urban legend that if a fan or an air conditioner is running overnight, it kills you by sucking your air out? Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Like, you're out in the woods and then it looks like there's something bigger and meaner than what you'd be expecting there based on things. Speaking of creepy stuff in the woods, it's quite a small bit of woodland, but there's some near me. And one time I went in there was, like, some sticks arranged in a really weird way and, like, some bird skeletons. Like, I guess somebody had just gathered them up and, like, made a shrine for shits and giggles, but it was kind of creepy, you know, if you're walking around there and it's not all that bright, and then all of a sudden in the woods and nobody's around, you find, like, a weird Blair Witch kind of shrine. Cool. The stream will be going on for quite a bit longer, comrade. Not comrade, sorry, Weapons and Survival. Yeah, sometimes it can obviously have a perfectly, or the majority of the time it has a perfectly reasonable explanation, doesn't it? Where, tell you what, shall I try and put some creepy music in the background very, quietly? Let me just try something. Let me open Pause Stretch, which is a program that lets you stretch audio down. And then let me stretch some sounds and see if, yeah, I must admit, with a lot of time in the woods, I definitely prefer, even though we don't have very big woods in the UK, I definitely prefer somebody being with me than... But sometimes that's just you think in case somebody tries to mug you or attack you in the woods. Right, let me load up an audio file and then we'll super stretch it. And then it will last the entire stream. And let's stretch it to be an hour or so long. And then let me put the audio thing on. Which one is it I have to click? Is it this one? Can you hear anything at the moment, out of interest? Is there sound coming through now, and if so, is it too loud or too quiet? Yep, vampires are interesting, especially some of like the different nations that have myths about vampires. That could be quite comforting though, couldn't it, stuff like that, ARP Warden? What I mean is, can you hear like the stretched, creepy music in the background? That's what I want to know. Or is that still playing? Okay, it's playing now, I think. But is it playing through the thing? Or is it not doing it because my headphones aren't plugged in? Let me just see if I can... This will be a good reaction image, won't it? Let's just see if I can work out if it's playing the audio or not. But is it playing through the thing? Or is it not doing it because my headphones aren't plugged in? Right, let me just see if I can get some audio coming through in a moment. This will be a good reaction image, won't it? Let's just see if I can work out if it's playing the audio or not. Tell you what, if you go out in the woods at night with night vision, that can be creepy, where the night vision shows you stuff you can't see with your eye, but you still can't see it well enough to work out what it is. Or is it not doing it because my headphones aren't? Ah, you can hear it, good. Right, let me just see if I'll leave the headphones on for this so I can hear what you can hear. Let's just see if I can work out. I'll mute the video though. Oh, it's incredibly stretched audio, so tell you what, I'll put it on a bit faster because I can always load up another track. Let me stretch it to sort of 8 something times, and then let's put the samples up a bit, and then go from there. Oh, is it repeating the audio from the video if I did that? Yeah, I've muted that. Is that the GM17 tech storm? I think it's got a name like that. Yeah, it's because I had the stream thing unmuted, so I've muted that again, because that's the problem. Obviously, if it's playing audio from my PC, it will play back the stream if I don't have that muted. I'll be very impressed if somebody guesses what this is stretched down to 8 times slower than normal. Do you know which war that was, Richard? I can read your comment, Fake Madness. Nah, I can see what you mean. It's like a pacifier, isn't it? Like a dummy. But yeah, it's the exhale valve. No, it's not Thriller. No, it's not Baby Shark. No, not War of the Worlds. Yeah, I don't know Celtic Productions, but it's quite sad, isn't it, when that happens? Because I've had relatives and like family friends that have had dementia and Alzheimer's, and they can, you know, say some very strange stuff. But I think some of it, sadly, is just lots of jumbled up memories that they're just kind of spewing out. Yeah, it is creepy, Foxy. Daniel is the closest thing to it so far, but it's not technically opera. No, it's not Jurassic Park. Ah, you're thinking of Hellraiser. Ah, you're not too far off of Hellraiser. It's not the soundtrack, but a lot of the elements of it are quite similar. No, not 28 Days Later. Can I see this comment? It says weapons and stuff, can you see this? But I can't see any previous comments if you made them recently, Planes. Oh, like I'm gonna be, doing a duck call kind of thing. No, not the fog. Can you see this? Yes, I can. No, not A Quiet Place. Yeah, I can totally get what you mean by that, Army Aloof. But yeah, I definitely agree when your senses are heightened, if you're at night or somewhere, you know, like that. I think that's definitely where, you know, you could, you know what I mean, your imagination plays tricks. Maybe you've been abducted, said X12, and you're recalling the memories from when you were abducted and they experimented on you. Yeah, and you have things, don't you, SRS Power, not saying you specifically, but the stories of, like, somebody standing at the foot of your bed staring at you, or, like, a hag on your chest and all those sort of things. Ah, Mike's got it right. It's Castle Bravo from Trinity and Beyond. Ah, well done, Mike. Weapon Collector already got it. There'll be some ominous chanting coming in a bit, that's why I chose this track. I don't think the bomb's even detonated yet. When you hear the screech, that will be Castle Bravo igniting. It should be quite soon, judging by the sound. Now? Yeah, there. Yeah, just re-comment something if I've missed it, because there's quite a lot of comments and I can't keep up with all of them. Was he the guy who put the bodies in his house, like the necrophile text on, who had like the human dolls? Is it that guy? Because I know some of the creepy like Eastern European sort of like serial killers and those sort of weird blokes. Yeah, that's the one from the Fallout 3 DLC, isn't it? I know they had a Civil War camp there. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? But sometimes I think Planes, people like that are doing it like a weird kind of edgelord kind of devil worship thing, if you get what I mean. Not serious kind of, you know, the stuff I'd find a lot more creepy as if it was a real cult kind of thing, not... I'd love to go in the catacombs in Paris. Yeah, I've seen Texas Chainsaw 1, 2, 3 and 4. I've not actually listened to much of Roger Waters' stuff, Vladimir, to be honest. That's interesting, Mike. Have you ever had any experiences there? I suppose you'd have said, wouldn't you, if you had any experiences there? I'll have a look at some point, Foxy the Pirate. You might have to remind me, though, on another stream. Not another stream, on the video comments on another video. Are you in Milwaukee then, Charles? Because was he in Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Or was he just in Wisconsin somewhere? No, I've never had sleep paralysis. Castle Bravo was the biggest thermonuclear bomb ever detonated by the United States ARP Warden. It was 15 megatons, and I think they only expected it to be around 6 megatons. Well, the musical score to the film sounds like that. Army Aloof. The actual bomb would just sound like a roar. Yes, I would, Iron Man Spartan. For £1 million. I suppose if somebody paid me, I'd do it, but otherwise, it feels a bit disrespectful more than anything else. Right, I'm going to have some of my coffee before it cools down too much. I've had all my coffee because it was cooling down. What was your previous comment, Vladimir? So I saw you saying, quite a lot of investment in the gear. Or are you on about setting up like a room for listening just to audio? Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I just came up with the idea when I kept hearing the same smoke detector PSA thing on the radio non-stop. Is Stewie the evil baby? He'd probably win, I imagine. That's interesting, T55. It's quite tragic though, isn't it, DYGI, if something like that happens where somebody kills himself and then another family kills themselves. No, Tom. No, I don't. Yeah, I do it for a lot less than $1 million. I was just referencing something there. Oh, that's creepy. Yeah, there's a lot of stories, aren't there, of ghosts by the side of the roads. I've had some weird things with cars, though, when I'm driving before. Where there's a car, like, tailgating you, and then all of a sudden you look in your mirror and it's not there anymore. And there's, like, nowhere it could have turned off. Vampires, I reckon, out the supernatural monsters, because they're pretty hard to kill and they're quite cunning. Yeah, that's creepy, Alexander. I'm not going to fix it if it looks like it has a face. That's perfect for the stream, isn't it? What, that one? Did you know Celtic Productions on the original Xbox, if you left the main menu running for too long, weird, like, robot voices start talking on the main menu? Right, cheers, Rex. What were they like, with firefighters or what? Or normal civilians coming? No, I don't do any stuff like that. I just like talking about spooky stuff on streams now and then, because I find it all really interesting. I've watched lots of ghost hunting things, but I don't think there's ever been any that have got really good conclusive evidence, are there? Right, I'm going to have to open this full screen now and see if I can see it, because I can't see it on my one. Is it the Belmez faces? But, I can't see it. Is it there or there or where? That's interesting, Griffin. I think the Greys existed before the GP5 kind of came out, or the Shun 41s, or the Shun 1. But it's kind of a theory, isn't it, that they could have seen, like, guys in hazmat suits or something and have mistaken them for aliens. I'll have to look up what that is. Hang on a second. Was it like a troll? Or is it the thing from Dark Souls? Oh, it's the weird guys from Dark Souls 3. See, I can't see that on my screen. This is the weird thing. Shall I turn it down a little bit for you guys? There you go. Just turn down a little bit. I'll turn it down a bit more. There we go. I've turned it down quite a bit now. So, I was going to say, it sounds, until you said my cat, a bit like the Amityville horror with the eyes at the window. That bit always creeped me out in the Amityville horror, the original. I wish I could see this now. This is annoying me that I'm looking on the video and I can't see the face. Because I can see that there's a couple of dents there, but I can't see a face in there at all. Maybe it's just the angle the camera's at it looks different than me looking with my eye. Oh, is it like eye there, nose there, mouth? I can kind of see that, if that's what you're on about. Yeah, I'll definitely watch that if you do a video of it, Flames. I'm gonna have to look that up now, TechStorm. I'll turn the music down a bit more. It's because it's the fireball of the nuke now, where it obviously the choir gets the loudest. Let me Google H.P. Lovecraft and see if I can find a picture of a creepy face next to him. There's very few pictures where H.P. Lovecraft himself is smiling, though. Nah, it's not coming up on Google Images easily. That's cool, Frost. I don't know if it protects your head properly, Josh. But yeah, let's keep this, Oh no, it's getting angry now, is it the pillow? Are you my mummy? That one, yeah. The empty child and the doctor dances. But yeah, let's keep it on subject for the stream being about creepy stuff, please. Right, I'll load up another track into Paul's Stretch. I'll probably not stretch the next one quite as much. Oh, I know a good track for doing. Right, let me just stop this and do the next track. Right, I'll stretch it by about 4 times, and then I'll oversample it quite a lot. There we go. I don't know what you're on about, fake madness. I'd love to go, Cohen, but I've not ever been because, as I've said before in a lot of these, when I planned on going was when this sort of Ukrainian civil war, Russian sort of involvement started happening, whatever you want to call it. So lots of things were like cancelled, so I then, would have had to book later, then I just chose to go somewhere else. Right, let me search H.P. Lovecraft creepy face. All the pictures coming up are just of H.P. Lovecraft himself. Again, they're not even all the same picture. Right, let me have a look on Twitter. I'll have a look, Mike. Oh, yeah! I definitely couldn't see that from the angle I was looking at. I've probably completely ruined the face now trying to do that. Yeah, thanks for sending me that, because I can see it as soon as you sent me the picture. It looks like a bit like one of those theatre masks, doesn't it? Ah, that's good. It's called a PH gas hood or a PHG hood. I don't think so, Daniel. Because I think they used to do that a lot more, but not like as much. Because you used to have an interface, so you used to be able to look that up. I don't think they include that anymore. Alright, let me download the picture and then I'll put it on the screen. Mike even went to the effort of drawing a funny little squiggle on it to show me how it looked as a picture. Right, let me just... Did it not save it properly? There we go, right. So yeah, you can see if you look at that, it does look like there's a nose and a mouth and eyes. Well, sadly, the thumbnails for the streams are just what's currently going on in the stream. That sounds like it would be fun, Alexander. That's cool. The Cloaked Spectre. Yes, Smithers. What creeps something out you out, Big Bosley? Did I miss a previous comment you made? If you made a previous comment, I think it's not turned up. Because it says, it creeped my mom out so much she called a guy from our church to come over and look at it and bless the house. But I didn't see a previous comment to that because it sounded like it was the second part or something. Lovecraft did lots of good stories, but do you mean Pickman's model to Jokelman, which is the one about the weird, like, deformed creature that's kept for the guy drawing the painting? Like, hence the model. Since I've been doing the stream, Jacob, or just in general? If it worked as a gas mask, I reckon I would get that Iron Drac. Oh, creepy Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe Biden's pretty creepy, isn't he? I wouldn't let him near any of my family members. We're getting the politics in now. So don't do that. I like Shadow over Innsmouth the most, probably, out of all the Lovecraft stories. And H.P. Lovecraft Reanimator. You can't post a link in the comments, it won't let you. Alright, make sure you like the spooky stream, everyone. I'm going to Google some creepy urban legends to see if they're worth bringing up in the stream. I'll just turn the music down a little bit more as well. If it's too loud, I don't know, because I'm hearing it louder than you'd hear it. That's a YouTube video, I don't want to watch a YouTube video. And this is just a crappy clickbait website, so I don't want to go on that. Is there any that aren't clickbait? It's all bloody clickbait coming up when I search it. Right, I'll have a look. Hockey Mask Horror. What's that? Akamanto. It's like that other one where it's you're on the toilet and a mysterious voice asks, if you want red paper or blue paper. And if you answer red paper, you will be sliced apart and your clothes are stained red. If they choose blue paper, they will be strangled until their face turns blue. Any attempt to outsmart Akamanto by asking for a different colour will result in them being dragged to the underworld. Ignoring him will make him go away. You could also respond with, I don't need paper, and he will leave. It reminds me of that other one about the woman who says, am I pretty, or whatever it is. Yeah, sounds pretty horrible, Alexander. Probably would make you vomit, wouldn't it? Huh. No, don't bring anything like that, because it's a controlled military zone. Unless you're saying, bring me. Could very well be Vladimir. Yeah, that's the one, Hockey Mask Horror. I think somebody else mentioned that earlier as well. That could be true Celtic Productions, but I think normally in World War I it was just chlorine, phosgene and mustard. I'd love to go at some point, but as I said, next year I'm probably going to go to America. Right, let's see if I can get some more creepy music. Let's stretch this to about 3 times and see what this sounds like. Tell me if I need to turn it down. I'll probably turn it down slightly. Yeah, let's turn it down to about there. Oh, that's kind of cool, Elias. It's not, yeah, as you said, not too creepy, but it's sort of interesting. I'm trying to avoid things that might get me copyright strikes, hence why I'm Paul's stretching music. Yeah, if I was aware it was happening, certainly. But if it was nerve agent, not a chance. Which Resident Evil? But I agree, a lot of the Resident Evil games do have good soundtracks. Anybody got any good horror film recommendations while we're on the stream? And it's a spooky stream. Horror Express, is that the one with Telly Savalas and Peter Cushing and everyone? Or is that the one which has Jamie Lee Curtis in? Because there's one that's called like Terror Express, isn't there? And there's another called Horror Express. I know both those films, Hockey Mask Horror. I'm looking for some quite obscure stuff at the moment. I've got Salem's Lot ready to watch, which I might watch tomorrow at some point. I've got the original Hills Have Eyes on DVD and I've seen the remake, but I've not watched either the sequel to the original or the sequel to the remake. So it's the the one that has Peter Cushing in, Christopher Lee, Telly Savalas, that one, yeah, I've seen that one, with like the weird monster that is like unfrozen from ice or something, isn't it, if I remember right? Yeah, House of the Dead games had good soundtracks, Richard. I like the Emperor's theme from House of the Dead too. Yep, got Dr. Terror's House of Horror on DVD. Yeah, and it's got Peter Cushing in as well. That's the one where it's like the Amicus Anthology film, isn't it? And he's reading them the tarot cards on the train. And my favourite one in that's the one with the vine, like the plant that kills the people. And it's got Bernard Lee in it, who's in the James Bond films. No, I've actually not, Daniel. I know what it's about. It's like a rape revenge film, isn't it? But I've actually not seen I Spit on Your Grave. Maybe I have to watch that. Let me have a look at that ZX, because I'm not sure if I have. That's creepy. I mean, I don't think it looks real, but it's quite creepy and well done. Yeah, why not historical European swordsman? Yeah, I've seen Wrong Turn. It's like the Cannibal Hillbillies one, isn't it, Fico? What I could do for you, Richard, is you could get it as a MIDI and then you could transpond it to keyboard very easily that way. I'll try and remember to email you about that at some point, because I could sort that out for you. Because I used to do that a lot of the piano as well, where I'd because I can read sheet music, but not all that well. I played better by ear. But what I could sometimes do is get a video game soundtrack in MIDI format and then sort of strip it down of all the unnecessary bits and then print it as sheet music. Right, see you, Daniel. Is this the thing about the guy called Ouchie who like fell apart from radiation damage, John Doe? Or is this a totally different thing? Yeah, the original Slenderman thing, isn't it? Hockey Mask Horror as well. Not the original Slenderman thing. That was the Something Awful photo competition. But I've just realised with this on, I look like the really old Doctor Who Cyberman costume. Hang on. Let me see if I can get a picture up. Let me download it and I'll put it in the thing. Back when it was actually creepier looking because it was you know, like all cheap costume practical effects. I just realised that is what I'm wearing kind of reminds me of that. That was World War One, Dan, not World War Two, and that gets brought up like every stream. Yeah, that was really stupid, wasn't it, T55? Yeah, I'll try. Remind me if you're on Mike's stream in a bit, Richard, to do it then. And I'll sort it out while I'm watching Mike's stream. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. It just gets brought up a lot then. Oh, but then it'd be getting political, wouldn't it, Tyler, if I had Theresa May in the background? What I wanted to find for this stream, which is why I was late starting, is I have like a horror Halloween type mask somewhere. Not a Michael Myers one, but, you know, another kind of... It could be in a slasher film kind of mask, and I was trying to find that to wear for this stream. And it also has a tie-in to a channel you may not know that I have, which I've mentioned before. Where I have done a few horror-themed videos that are all very strange. But you won't get the meta of them unless you personally know me, because Bart's helped me film some of them. And it's the sort of thing that he finds really funny. And like, we can laugh non-stop making these videos, but I don't think people would get it. You know, if they didn't know the thing. But if I find a mask, next time I do a spooky stream, I'll wear the mask with the full outfit. And then I'll link you to the channel I've not updated in years. What nation's they from, Alexander? Because I think a few nations still make new civil defence masks, but it depends which nation you're on about. Right, I'll load up another song. Just a second. Open audio file. Right, there we go. That's probably just due to age, Iron Drac, because with the straps they should fit your face quite well. But they're obviously very cheaply made masks that were intended to last a couple of years. Was that a nightmare you had, Elias, or was that something else? Sorry. Oh. Oh, so you were at the park when you were 10? That's weird. I'm at work at the weekend, but next time I do a spooky stream will be sometime next week, I guess. It's getting a bit warm, but I can manage. Because this isn't like thick rubber or anything, it's literally like a flannel. No, I don't think I've heard of that T55, let me look it up. Might look into that at some point. That just got asked patriotic Brit a little bit, but I can manage for the rest of the stream. I don't know what you mean by that, Celtic Productions. No, I haven't heard of the Terrifier. Let me look that one up. It's about a clown, is it? No, the gas has never had a filter. The material of the mask was soaked in chemicals. That's how it worked. The entire mask is the filter, essentially. Oh, I think they were tech storm. I think that's why they were creepy in the older things, because it was like the body horror aspect of them being sort of these Frankenstein's monsters of living human parts and machines. I'll go to at least an hour and a half, so that's another 20 minutes. I might go on a bit longer. I'll definitely be finished before 10 o'clock, because Mike's streaming Layers of Fear, if you'll want to watch him stream that, which is a horror game. But, nah, I'm sure you might know about some of that weird drama on their T55, but I'd rather not go into it and start shit fits between people. Oh, so horror films just make you hungry then, Vladimir? Oh, I'd love one, but I also wouldn't be able to look after it properly, Elias, so I'd never get one. You can probably get the East German ones quite cheap, East German NBC suits, but we're going off the subject of the spooky stream now, aren't we, again? Can you post a link on one of my regular videos, Alexander, where I can approve it, so I know which ones you're on about? Yeah, as I said, T55, there's no real reason for that. But I don't want to get into bullshit drama stuff, but I've sort of taken the attitude of don't feed the trolls, where I'm just going to completely ignore them now, at this point. I don't know what was actually in World War One box filters, but he's still destroying a historical antique, isn't he? Oh yeah, we're at 76 likes. It'd be good in the next 15 or so minutes if we can get that to 90 to 100 kind of number. Yeah, mine's the Hind as well, the Crocodile Me24. In a normal stream, we're meant to be talking about spooky stuff if people stay on topic. Yep, completely. Please do talk about spooky stories, Patriotic Brit, because then we're getting back on topic, which is what I want. It says 79 on my screen for likes. Now let's see if I can find some other interesting music to slow down. Right, is it going to play this file I've tried to start playing? Yeah, there we go. I've seen some Asian horror, Mike. I watched on Shudder quite a few horror films that were Asian. There was a good Japanese one called Noroi the Curse, I think it was called, or Nahoroi the Curse, or something like that. There's one I watched on Amazon Prime years ago that was quite a good... it might have been a Korean horror, or maybe it was from Thailand, I can't remember. And it was about, like, somebody taking photos and then, like, ghosts started turning up in the photos, and like, you know, as the plot got on, the ghosts became more and more of a threat to them. Right, Teletubbies black and white. Yeah, I've heard a lot of those cryptozoology things, like Beast of Bodmin and it's like the Hound of the Baskervilles and all those sort of things. So it's just Teletubbies in black and white, but with really high saturation, is it? Right, let me search that one, Tale of Two Sisters. Normally if I'm looking for films like that, Mike, they're of a very different genre. I'll just Google it because it's YouTube's being crap me trying to search it. Oh, I think that's actually been on Shudder or Amazon before, so I'll definitely watch that next time I see it on there. And then once he died, did they still bring him back onto the show? Did they just sort of lay him out there? And they're like, why is Tinky Winky smelling? It's because he's decomposing. I mean, in all seriousness, that's obviously fucking horrible if somebody does become homeless or an addict or whatever and dies, but you know. Really? T55? You're reminding me of the conversation we were having on Mike's stream yesterday, which was about shitting and pissing yourself to make camo gear. So we were coming up with names like Fecal Tarn, or like Splatter Tarn. 95 shit piss material. Right, number stations, Jacob. There's a good 13 o'clock podcast episode where Tom explains it, because he was in the US Army. But they were to give coded information to spies. So a spy would tune in using a shortwave radio, and the numbers would refer to like maybe a book they had in their possession, so they'd know which pages to go for and which paragraphs, and it would be the code. Right, let me search that. That looks interesting. Japanese animator that does creepy animations, okay. Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's, but with the Teletubbies. Well, there's lots of horrific things from World War II and stuff, like Unit 731 and the death camps. There's one that we've probably mentioned before on here about, I don't know obviously if it's true, but apparently in Nazi Germany, there was like this blind man who approached a girl on the street or something, and he said, can you go and help me by delivering this parcel to my friend at this address? And he says, oh, it's getting dark soon. So the girl was gonna go, and then she thought, how did the blind man know it'd be getting dark soon? So she told her parents, and they called the police. And then when they raided it, it was like a butcher that was cutting up kids. So the guy would tell him to deliver the parcel, then they'd cut the kids up for meat. I don't know if that's true or not, or if it's an urban legend, but I've heard it a few times. Well, like Indiana Jones, well, I suppose it's too recent to be, like, it's too old to be Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull, whatever it is, isn't it, Richard? But apparently, yeah, on a lot of those old freezers and like washing machines and things like that, if you closed the door from the inside, there was no way of opening them. Sadly, they don't exist, bulletproof gas masks. So, do you think it would be... I'm getting this very post-apocalyptic vibe, like a David Firth thing now, Tyler, if you know who David Firth is. Where there'd be that Hoover, whatever it's called, Nunu, and he's like going around the Teletubby house, and then there's just the rotting skeletons of the Teletubbies, and he's just like hoovering up bits of their flesh as it falls off. Oh, that's funny. And if it was a David Firth cartoon, Nunu the Hoover would have to talk like this. Yep, 10 more likes, people. 10 to 20 more likes. Have you seen that episode of The Simpsons, Comrade Stalin, where they're eating the kids? Could be a bit like that. Has anybody worked out what the current bit of music slowed down is? It'd be good if some of you recognised it, but it's a game that might be a bit too old for a lot of people. Oh, this is a reproduction of a World War I gas mask, yeah. Or a replica, whatever you want to call it. You can't hear the music? Is it too low? Let me see if I can turn it up. Can you hear it now? It's been playing for a while. So did somebody say they were going to say some creepy stories, and then I don't know if they actually posted them. I've seen quite a lot of the Treehouses of Horror, Elias, but I've not seen any Simpsons in years and years, though. Now I'll have to search that up, Cortana. Well, if you mean illegal firearms, then we're not going to chat about that, because obviously it's a, you know, as it says. But, or do you mean like an actual haunted firearm? Would he kill people with his nose, Iron? But there's kind of Puppet Master, aren't there? Have you ever seen the Puppet Master series? That's been mentioned about 10 times already on this stream, Auto Run. The story of the old empty barn is, there was nothing in it. I don't know, I'll Google it. It sounds slightly familiar, Mike, but I don't know if I've actually seen it. Now, I'll definitely check that out, because it looks like something I'll find interesting, but I don't want to read too much into it now, because I bet I'll ruin it for myself. Right, cheers, Alexandra. Have a quick look now, just so I know which ones you're on about, because otherwise I'll not get back to you for a while on that. if the comments decide they're going to load. Puppet Master 2 inadvertently makes me laugh though, Richard, because it's got Andre Toulon in bandages, hasn't it? So he looks a bit like this and he just keeps waving at people, and I always find it stupidly funny. Right, see you, Elias. Right, let me see if I can check it up on my phone, actually, because the YouTube's doing that thing where it's holding comments review, but I can't actually see it. I need to turn aeroplane mode off, just a second. It's from a game older than Doom, Mike. I'll give you a hint, it was on DOS. Right, let me now refresh. Which, I don't know about Denver Airport, but which is the airport that has the really weird murals inside? Like the guy with the Kalashnikov with a gas mask on, whatever it is. Like stabbing a dove or something. Right, I'm just looking at that link now for you. To me, the mask they're showing there looks a lot like a Scott M98, just for a lot more money. So I wouldn't personally buy that mask. Yeah, so Denver Airport is the weird one, okay. It's from the original Prince of Persia, Mike. What I'll do is I'll skip forwards a bit till the main theme comes in again for the epilogue. It's probably around here. Well, Prince of Persia that was on DOS and the old Mac, or whatever it was. Apple Mac. Now, keep it on topic though, please, people, because lots of people now asking me things that are not related to creepy stuff. I'll be on a few more minutes. Let's see if we can get to 90 likes. That's interesting. Mike, yeah. Did what come through Helicon? I guess not then. Search Scott Pro Mask, Alexander, and see if that gets you any more results. What, the Weeping Angels from the Doctor Who episode, Jacob? Because that's interesting if that's what you're on about. Well, like SARS, Iron Drac. I don't know, because I've not died yet, as far as I'm aware. Didn't that happen in Switzerland, I think? I heard there was a story like that in Switzerland about a guy picking flowers in the forest with a gas mask on. Spooky stuff. I'm trying to think. I definitely had a weird thing at primary school. I think I've said about before, where I went to primary school, they had like an old caretaker's house on the grounds that was like disused. They used it for storage and it was locked up. And where the playground boundaries were, you couldn't go over to it, but you could see it because there was, you know, like a service road there and everything. And in this house one day, we were on the playground and we looked up at the window and we swear we saw like this kind of yellow-looking man up there looking out the window, like if you had like a corpse that had like rotted for it. You know, in Return of the Living Dead, when there's that yellow zombie running around at the beginning that they cut its head off and then they cut its arms off. It looks a bit like that. You know, like it was like this really creepy kind of rancid old corpse looking thing that looked at us out the window then disappeared. And that freaked the fuck out of us. We were only little kids then. Never had an explanation for that. Did you go? Get out of here, stalker, Tyler. There's a couple of videos on my channel, Jacob, of urban exploration things, but sadly, there's barely anything left near me to actually urban explore. You saying MK Ultra? The CIA MK Ultra'd my primary school, Mr. YOLO. They could very well have done. Yeah, it was exactly that kind of thing, Mike. Right, I'll be on a few more minutes and then I'll head off, so if anybody's got any good, interesting, spooky things to say, post them now. Don't forget to like the stream if you've not liked it already. Sadly, there's not one behind me, because if there was a weeping angel kind of thing behind me, I could, like, somehow make it move and pretend that it was moving on its own. Ah, that's good. It says we've hit 90 now. Yeah, that's cool, Mike. It gives me a chance to go to the toilet and that anyway. So, like I said, I'll be finishing my stream anytime now anyway. So can anybody think of anything creepy before I go? I'm thinking either tomorrow night's stream or Friday I might do a survival-based stream, because that'll be interesting, where we can talk about shit hits the fan kind of scenarios and survival things. Is it a scary pot noodle, Rich? I'll look up the Dragon. Oh, the Dragon is also in RuneScape. But I'll try and find an undead creature from Norse mythology. Oh, the Draugr! Oh, yeah, they're in Skyrim, aren't they? I know what you mean by those now. Yep. That's pretty creepy, Jacob. Sadly, it would be very hard to stream outdoors because I'd need good mobile internet. Well, there wouldn't be any equipment they could have given them NXL Molotov. Because as much as the Soviets were to blame for Chernobyl, the actual accident, you can't stop gamma radiation from getting people. They couldn't exactly give every man a lead bunker on wheels. I've seen the Daniel Radcliffe film of it, but I've not read the book. But I've read a couple of other Susan Hill books. Because I've got The Man in the Painting, or The Man in the Picture, whatever it's called, the Susan Hill one. I've also read another Susan Hill one. Yeah, we were talking about sleep paralysis earlier in the stream, Rocky Warden. Oh, I'll check that out, Iron Drac, because I keep meaning to watch the original, I've not. But I like A Warning to the Curious and all those sort of M.R. James ghost ones as well. How good the music's ended, that's good timing. I did think the remake was good. There was a bit that interested me in the remake, because the little girl kills herself by drinking lye, doesn't she? And I find lye very interesting. But anyway, yeah, I'll be finishing the stream now. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a good fun one tonight. And I'll get some fresh air, because obviously, yeah, it does get a bit musty having a mask on your face for an entire stream. But yeah, thanks for watching. Tomorrow night, I might do that survival stream, or that might happen Friday, but you'll find out when I do it. But thanks for... Oh, that'd be horrible, Tyler. That would be your skin dissolving off. Ugh. It's like chemical burn. Oh. Yeah, no, it would not be a pleasant way to go, but it's a pretty much guaranteed suicide method, I guess. Right, anyway. No, yeah, 93 likes for weapons and stuff, 93. But yeah, thanks everybody. Well, if I do it Friday, I'd have to do it in the day, Jacob. I couldn't do it in the evening. That's the only thing. Right. See everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll be streaming tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow will be in the evening, probably 8 PM again. Friday will most likely be during the day. Right, see everybody, thanks for watching. Goodbye.